Okay, so I'm actually going to put the steak on at 200 degrees on the way to 300 degrees. You can see there's a good amount of smoke coming from the SmokeFire as we're at these lower temperatures. And that's the idea here at this lower temperature. I want to get a good amount of smoke into this big, thick ribeye. And then I'll set a timer for, like I said, 45 minutes. I'm going to monitor that internal temperature. I don't want to overcook the ribeye when I get to the searing point. So we're at the 200 degrees. The internal temperature is 63 right at the moment. So let's go on to the SmokeFire. And like I said, we're on our way to 300 degrees. I'm going to set a timer at 45 minutes. Okay, so we got the probe in the center of the steak, 63 degrees, 200 degrees on the SmokeFire, coming to 300, and a 45-minute countdown timer. Let's check back in a few. Okay, so we've hit the 300 degree mark, and oh, look at this, a Negroni has appeared on the scene. And what's better than a Negroni? A smoked Negroni. After just a few seconds in the SmokeFire, we will have a delicious smoked Negroni. Oh yes, it's delicious. Check out the smoke. Okay, we're at 300 degrees. My Negroni's about half gone. I might need a second one before we're done with this smoke duration. We're at 28 minutes on the countdown clock, and we got lots of good smoke. Let's take a peek inside. And you see, oh yeah, you can see that steak is smoking in there. I'm gonna give it a flip here in about another 3 to 5 minutes. You know, we'll be approaching the halfway point here shortly. Maybe I'll just wait for the halfway point. All right, we'll keep it posted. Okay, we are at 23 minutes on the countdown. We're going to give a flip to the steak. A little bit of heat in there. It's only 300 degrees, 86 degrees on the internal part of the steak. So we're barely coming up to temperature here. So we're going to leave it here at 300 for another 20 minutes. And then we'll have plenty of smoke on this ribeye. And then we'll crank it up to 600 on the griddle and get a good sear going. All right, we're in the final countdown of 7 minutes. And look, we have another Negroni that needs to be smoked. We're still at 300 degrees, 111 on the internal temperature. Let's smoke this Negroni. Literally only took 5 seconds before. So we are going to give this Negroni a 5-second countdown, and we're about there. And it tastes delicious, by the way, the smoke on this Negroni. Just can imagine the smoke on the steak is going to be just as good. I'm going to go get a platter and some tin foil. We're going to rest the steak while we get up to 600 degrees. We're going to put the searing plate down on the lower grid, and we're going to sear this steak. All right, we're into the final 20 seconds here, and then we're going to take that steak off. The internal temperature is achieved 125 degrees Fahrenheit. We're at T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll take this bad boy off. Oh, look at that nice smoke on there. Sorry for blocking the camera. Cover it up. Now we're going to raise up to 600 degrees. Max temperature on this SmokeFire. I'm going to move the griddle down to the lower rack here. We're going to let it come up to 600 degrees. I'm going to take those baked potatoes off there in a bit. But we are warming to 600 degrees. We'll check back in a few minutes. Probably take about 10-15 minutes to go from 300 to 600 here. It's a pretty rapid heat, preheat cycle on the SmokeFire. Rather impressed with that. And then we'll go on to the griddle at 600 degrees. Get a good sear on this nice smoky ribeye. And then it's time for dinner. Okay, we're checking in. We're on our way to 600 degrees. We're at 430 on the SmokeFire grill. You notice I got the hopper lid open. I'm making sure that the pellets are gravity feeding into the SmokeFire grill. The steak is resting and it's at 127 degrees. So it's doing nicely. It was like I think it was like 125 when I took it off the grill. So it actually came up in temperature a little bit, which is pretty normal for a resting steak. The temperature keeps moving through towards the middle. So we're good. And 440 at the moment. We're going to get to 600. I'm going to dwell for about, I don't know, we'll put a 3-minute timer on dwell at 600 degrees. Make sure that griddle plate is searing hot. And then the steak's going back on the grill. Come back later. All right, quick update here. We're at 515, 520. It just flipped over. I'm realizing that Weber really wants you to use Weber pellets. I'm using off-brand that I picked up at Menards. And what happens is, you know what the game Jenga, where you get that, perfectly balanced tower of blocks? With these pellets, you get this Jenga effect where you end up with a big cavity underneath the pellet hopper. Pellets look full, but they're not falling down into the auger mechanism because of the Jenga effect. So anyways, we're at 520. We're working our way to 600. Like I said, I'm going to let the grill plate dwell for 3 minutes at 600 degrees. And then we're going to go on to searing the steak. But I got to keep managing the pellet hopper. All right, the crowd's getting hungry and I'm getting disappointed. We're losing temp here. Not sure what's going on with the SmokeFire tonight. We got a good sear there. You can hear it. We're at 475 on the griddle, and we're gonna keep things going here. All right, the SmokeFire failed. We're at 440 degrees, trying to get to 600. We never got to 600 degrees. We got to 500 and some degrees, wavered down to 300 and some degrees. I don't know what the hell's going on here. It's this Jenga thing with the pellet hopper. It's too dark to see that, I apologize. But anyways, so we moved dinner into the grill. There's my dog Cheyenne, and she's loving the smell. So steak smells good. We moved things indoors. We are at 147 internal temperature. We're trying to go well done on the steak. We've got a nice char on the griddle here, but we are not done with this cowboy ribeye. And the SmokeFire failed. It is a failure on the SmokeFire. Okay, steak is resting. We're at 166, so we're at well done. We got some shiitake mushrooms grilling up. Threw some butter on top of that ribeye. Looks pretty good. We're letting it rest a bit. And then we're gonna carve it up and serve it up. Again, that SmokeFire failed. I have no idea. Might be those pellets from Menards. I did stock up over the weekend and bought a bunch of Weber pellets. The Weber pellets and the Traeger pellets seem to be the same size. We will repeat this experiment with Weber pellets and see that we have consistent feed rate into the SmokeFire burn pot and regulate temperature accordingly to the set point. Never did get to 600 degrees. Got to 550, put the steak on the griddle, and then at that point it started to drop down to 300 degrees. I managed the pellet hopper and got back to 440, 475, and at that point people said they were hungry. So we came indoors to the cooktop here and grilled the heck out of it on the conventional stovetop. Anyways, on to the cutting.